Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Manny Squad. I am Manny Carl, and welcome to a Let's Talk on the Division. Now that Hamish has come out with his statement, I have breaking news for you, and I can tell you that this breaking news comes on the heels, and I'm going to go ahead and explain a few things, but let's go ahead and I'll explain, and then we'll get into the breaking news. But in a previous video, I mentioned something about my friend telling me what was going on in the 1.4 build that he was testing personally, and the issue he saw was that there wasn't anything he was seeing in terms of progress being made on the build. And this was, of course, a couple weeks ago, so of course there wasn't that much progress being made, but it was still disheartening, and he knew that it was still early, but it was still, nonetheless, he was having an issue with it. And I didn't want to say anything because I wanted to remain positive in this time of transition. And with that being said, bear in mind that this isn't all terrible news. So let's go ahead and get into the breaking news. And this is kind of bad news, but if you didn't see Hamish's announcement this morning, the public test server has been delayed. Now, this may not be all bad. It could just mean that the features that they wanted to get in simply didn't make it in to the build, and it just won't be able to go live until it does. What this does mean, though, and I can tell you with 100% assurity, is that they are probably behind schedule. Now, on top of that, we have other bad news, which is that the 1.4 special report that was scheduled for just a few hours from now is delayed as well. And that is actually just code for it's not going to happen, and it probably won't be happening anytime soon. And that maybe, during this day of the game, Hamish will discuss a lot of vague terms with us during that, and basically tell us a few things that are already in the build, but he can't really go into a lot of what's going to change, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. But if you didn't see it, let me go ahead and read Hamish's forum post, and I'm not going to do his accent because it would just come off bad and insulting, and I don't want to do it. But let's go ahead and I'll read Hamish's forum post, and then we'll get into some other stuff. We mentioned last week on State of the Game that we would be hosting a special report for update 1.4 tomorrow, Tuesday the 13th. We will need to delay this show, as this stage we wouldn't be able to show you all of the content we would like to. While the special report format demands that we would be more complete in the type of things that we show, we'll be using our weekly State of the Game to give you some more concrete solutions that we will present in update 1.4. In other news, the PTS will not be available this Thursday as previously stated. After playing the build with our elite task force, it became clear that we have the PTS process be valuable for us in terms of feedback. We would need some more time to include key elements that are critical to the overall update 1.4 experience. Transparency is something that we know our community wants, and something that we aim to deliver every day. In this instance, it does mean that we need to share our schedule and intentions that are subject to the shifting throughout the process. The alternative of leaving you in the dark is not something that we see as an option. We're very eager to get this update out to all the agents while bringing you into the development process as much as we can, and as soon as we have more information, we'll let you know. Now, that was sent this morning, and that was all, and I'm a bit foggy on the transparency thing, because you say you want to give us transparency, yet you give us absolutely zero transparency, hence the term I'm foggy on it. Sorry for the pun, but that usually means that giving us information on what is going on, and this just says that you're delaying without any schedule updates, which maybe your transparency is that you're trying to give us transparency that you're not going to be doing this, that you're not going to be moving forward with the special report and the public test server. But transparency would be giving us an estimated time for when you would have it up. That's that kind of stuff. Leaving us in the dark, that's what you're doing. That's kind of what you're going ahead and doing. You're doing exactly what you're saying you're trying not to do, and it is something that you're seeing as an option, because that's exactly what you're doing. And yes, you're eager to bring us all the updates, but you're leaving everybody in the dark by not telling us any vital information that we want. And everybody from the Elite Task Force that tweeted out said that the build was great. So I don't understand what the problem is. So you see where I'm kind of foggy on the whole transparency thing. Something's gone wrong, and you don't want to kind of go ahead and fess up as to what's going on. So, but that's okay, because that's your prerogative. You don't have to tell us what's going on, and we just have to sit here and wait. Now, my only issue with this information is that it can't, and you can't announce what is being put in the game, which means, it's telling me that there isn't a concrete list, which also alludes to things taking longer than expected, meaning that you can't announce anything because it might not make it in. Now, what you're going to tell us in the state of the game is that, you're basically going to give us a list of things that are already in the build and not exactly what's going to be in the build. So it's really hard to get behind this because there's a lot of cloak and dagger stuff going on, a lot of covering stuff up, and a lot of backtracking from what I can see. Now, if you can't put something in the game, that's fine. Let's not go ahead and talk about it. That's, we don't need any false hopes, but we want to know, what's going on, what bug fixes. So if you can deliver that in the state of the game, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. But I think that telling us that you're trying to be transparent without being transparent and leaving us in the dark is kind of leaving us in the dark. And so, after all, you are trying to get all this stuff fixed, and that's great. And so, hopefully there is more coming during the State of the Game talk. And, we'll be able to get more information as we go along. But as we continue to move forward to the end of September and into October, I can't say that I have this feeling that we're going to see 1.4 in October. And we might see it start moving back into November as things keep piling up. It's not a sure thing that October is going to happen. And it's not a bad thing. This isn't a bad thing. Not getting it 1.4 or 1.4, however you want to say it, we're not getting that till November. It's not going to be a bad thing. It just means that we're getting the stuff that we asked for. And, after all, Massive is doing their best to fix these things. Honestly, Ubisoft should be chipping in and trying to get more bodies on this issue. That's just my opinion. I know how these things work. You throw money at it, you throw bodies at it, and everything works out fine. But, it looks like, or at least it sounds like, things aren't going well from a development perspective. And that's just, delays usually mean things aren't being fixed as fast or implemented as fast as they thought on the scheduling process. So that's my time. Thank you so much for watching this. For all of us here at the Division Let's Talk News, I am Mountie Carl, and we'll see you in the next video. Mountie Carl out.